Yeah, that has to be pretty tricky.
Yeah, it's at first it was really overwhelming, and then eventually I just sat at it and I was like, well, this clearly isn't going anywhere, so I need to adjust my approach
Yeah.
and figure it out. So now I look like a mix of an old tree, a Goomba, and somebody's like wise old Scottish dwarven grand.
You would be a perfect, like, you run up as, like, on an NPC in a video game and you have a little side quest for
Yeah,
people. That's what it sounds like to me.
yeah, that's kind of where I've been sitting here lately. It was good though. I mean, like I went through some shitty times. There was some darkness on that side, which is great because that's today's episode on Lemon Steam.
Ah.
What are we? This is episode what? And I'm just now saying the name of the show. Welcome to season one. The entire thing is a blooper reel.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, there were some really dark times and things like that where it was shit.
Mm,
Like it was absolute shit where I was thinking, I mean, I that was when having a long life was like having a prison sentence
mm,
of just everything is confusing, everything hurts. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to know what's going on, but the information just keeps changing repeatedly, which is
right.
also something I may or may not have projected onto my day-to-day 9 to 5 jobs. But
Yeah.
that projection was actually somewhat helpful for me because it
Mhm.
showed me that I did not fit there. Not the self-loathing I didn't fit. It was like, no, that's you guys are running on two different operating systems for two different machines, which you both are necessary, but not together.
Right. Right.
So, but
Mhm.
yeah, no, then came some understanding of what stillness actually meant. Like I got a chance to relax in the Knicks, the darkness
Mm.
and instead
Tell
of
me
looking
about that. What do you mean, like, the stillness?
at some point I feel like and a lot of people I feel or at least oddly hope I hope you didn't go through it, but if you did go through it, I hope you got here. Go to the place of like, all right, I can keep fighting this and it's going to keep getting stickier and stickier, like bad tar everywhere. Or I can sit for a minute and accept that, it taking over and winning is a very real and probable possibility. But if I'm quiet enough, if I just give myself a chance to recoup even in this situation, I can see where there's a little bit of I'm gonna say this and mark the date. There's a little bit of hope. Like I
Mm.
can I can grab onto that and go, okay, cool. Like the Lums and Rayman. I don't know if
Right.
anybody remembers Rayman. That was my jam back
Yeah.
in the day. I love that game.
Rayman's great.
Yeah, but it was like grabbing onto a lum when you're like all the way down. You're like all your bars are down, your health bar is down, your stamina bar is down. And you're just like shit.
Right.
But that's what the stillness kind of felt like. It's like there's all this tar and stuff, and I say tar because I don't know if you've dealt with tar, but it's worse than dealing with a vat of oil. Like that shit doesn't come off.
Right. Sticks
It's
to your skin.
oh my god, it's everywhere, and it's got this viscosity that just interweaves into like clothing fibers, hair, like the ridges on
Mhm.
your fingers. Like it's just gross, and
Yeah.
it takes forever to get off. So like tar kind of feels like the right thing because it's a sticky, dark
Mhm.
ooze
Right.
and if you fight it, you're gonna go down in it a lot quicker, much like quicksand, that thing we're supposed to all be terrified of.
Yeah.
Um
There was I'm gonna totally interrupt you with just such a weird
Yeah, go
thing.
for it.
Do you remember that show Dinosaurs?
Yes?
Jim Henson's Dinosaur? I think it was Jim Henson production. I remember there being it was, like, one of the last episodes of the show or something, and, like, there's a character who gets stuck in tar and, like, is, like, accepting their fate that they're like, "Well, I'm gonna die," and, like, that's, like, part of the episode is just,
Yeah.
like, confronting and being okay with, like, mortality and shit, and I remember being, like, a kid in it, like, kind of, like, freaking me out.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things, though, I'm kinda glad they started putting it in shows like I wasn't allowed to I had to sneak watch that show, I wasn't supposed to watch
Mm.
it, so I learned to watch TV at very low levels and very weird sprints because I love that show.
Mhm.
Not the mama and the episode where Robbie gets turned into a were-caveman.
I don't remember that one, but that's
Oh my
hilarious.
god, that episode cracked me up, and just, like, I remember eating it's a weird memory, I remember eating a lot of egg sandwiches and watching that show, I was like, "Sandwich, eggs, this seems right.
Yeah, this is a
Dinosaurs,
vibe. I'm where I'm
accepted."
supposed to be right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I'm glad they kinda did that to us as kids
Uh-huh.
because it was like, "Hey, man, this is a part of life," and it
Mhm.
was death I feel like death on this side of the planet is very don't talk about it.
Right.
is super scary.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's like everything is gonna go through this process and transition into wherever they go next, whether you believe it's just in the ground, kudos to you. If you go on to your next life, kudos to you. If you recycle and come back around to this one, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, whatever it is, it's expected, but it's that thing I think we really should I don't think you should make kids go to a funeral of their loved ones and watch them get buried under tons of cement and dirt. I think that's, not an okay thing to do to a child right off the rip.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm interested to hear your perspective on that because I that's not my gut reaction, so I'm curious what, like, your case is there.
Yeah, it's a personal case. It's a personal one, so I'll share it in a bit. But I do think that, putting it in the form of entertainment's meant to help us digest things a little bit easier. So I think it's great that they do things like that. And you introduce like, so just so you know, life is great.
Right.
It ends.
Mhm.
So make the most of it. Don't be a dick and the hurtful way, because as Chris has brought up in the last episode, there is a beneficial way to be a dick. So I have to deal with that paradox now. Fucking asshole. But yeah, like, just a heads up, kids, things die, and, like, if you watched a lot
Mhm.
of anime growing up, I think there was a study that came out, I cannot cite it for shit, I glanced at it, I will openly admit it was one of those late Instagram scrolls where I started the search and then I was like, "Good night,
Right.
power off." But, allegedly, people who grew up with anime, because they kill everybody all the time forever in anime, and they make you
Mhm.
go through hard, hard things for what seem like no reason, are more regulated as adults,
Hmm.
because
No wonder I'm so unregulated. It's 'cause I didn't watch I was too busy watching, like, more, Western cartoons. I was like I wasn't really into the anime as much as a kid. But
Yeah.
that mix that with a whole lot of Catholicism and a whole lotta it was a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, you got religion sniped early. They got you hard.
One of my favorite, I'll just hit one other quick thing. One of my
Yeah.
favorite video games ever was, it still is, I still play it all the time, is a game called Pikmin. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah,
Pikmin.
I am.
One of my probably my favorite game ever, and, in that death is an integral part of that game, and it's kind of in a more nature setting where it's more like, creatures and animals more or less, like, killing each other, and I remember being and you kinda command a little troop of, for anyone who hasn't played it, it's like you command a little army of essentially little ant guys, and you're kind of trying to survive this forest and nature-like setting with all of these other creatures that are trying to attack you, basically. But I remember playing it when I was really little at a friend's house, and when my troops would get eaten or killed, I got really upset. I got really, really upset, and I was like, "Oh, no," like, it was and, like, they have little ghosts that come out, and it just, like it deeply upset me, and I remember his older sister, it was with me, my buddy, and his older sister, and I was like, oh my god, that's so terrible," and she's like, "Well, the little power-ups in the game that, help you respawn and rebuild your army, maybe like their souls go into those little power-ups and it's like they come back, and I'm like, "Okay," and that, like, comforted me, like, a little bit, and, like, now that I'm older, I'm like, "Wow, that was like a little microcosm of, like, someone creating a religion for me to help me cope with mortality."
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. 'Cause I mean, it's probably one of the darker subjects people talk about, that everybody can relate to on some level is, "Am I gonna die? What's gonna happen?" But
Right,
all of these things, and it's like, yeah, no, you gotta physically die, like, it's gotta happen.
right,
You're alive. It's the other side of the coin is you have to die.
right.
Luckily, when you're on your journey, one of the things you're supposed to be gaining is understanding so that when you get to the end of it, regardless of what you believe, you can understand that, hey man, what happened happened and it was supposed to happen and
Right.
it did.
Right.
That's I think that's one of the better parts of getting to that end road, like, when things do start getting darker and acceptance starts creeping in, but I don't mean the roll over and show your stomach acceptance because you're
Mm,
scared. I
mm,
mean the acceptance of, I truly understand what's going on and I
right.
feel, like, at peace with it, like, this is because for me, for example, peace is balance, it's not the antithesis of conflict, it's a balance
Yeah.
of conflict, like, there's
Yep.
conflict, but I can also go somewhere, recharge, and there's tranquility, kind
Love
of
that.
synergy and stuff like that. So it's kind of the when you meet that peaceful arena of understanding, it's like, "Oh, alright, well,"
Mhm.
to me, that's a good death, especially in the day where we're not supposed to have knives and swords and shit and coming after people.
Eh.
You're supposed to be playing nice, at least, we just make pretend nice, guys, you can do it, I
Right.
believe in you.
Yeah, too funny.
But yeah, I think that's what having a good death is when you get to that understanding point after the darkness has shown you, like, yeah, it's scary because you're used to relying on light, but there are other ways.
Right. Totally, yeah. I mean, I'm kinda curious just again on that whole topic of, darkness and all that kinda stuff, like, what do you how would you define your relationship with darkness? What does that look like for you?
It was sketchy at first.
Mm.
Get dramatic. I feel like I'm gonna do a Spider-Man Noir, which I need to catch up on.
You should put on, like, Phantom of the Opera outfit,
Oh my god.
spin around. Sketchy at
Oh,
first. Da, 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 da.
how about we go the, detective noir, old school Dick Tracy route? We'll go with a Sin City look for a minute. Uh, it was pretty sketchy at first because in society in a lot of places, darkness, ooh, bad.
Mm,
And just to draw really it's not shallow, but it's a, more surface parallel
mm,
of, like, being the dark-skinned one and walking around, especially in the South.
mm,
It was one of those, "Shit, dark things are bad."
mm,
But then I started realizing that, well, I mean, we do a lot of our healing in the dark. We do a lot of our relaxing in the dark. We do a lot of our fixing in the dark, you know? I know there are other activities people wanna do in the dark, but
The lights stay on during healing.
it's like an easy bake oven forever. But yeah, so I started noticing that things were coming out in the dark that were spooky to look at, but honestly, it wasn't a problem. There's a whole ecosystem that happened in the darkness that was kind of awesome, you know. And then I started paying attention to the things people were saying were dark, and people were saying, like I have an incredibly dense fascination and even hobby or further depth love of spiritual arts and things like that. And I was looking at some of the ones that people were saying were, super bad and just don't go down this path. It's the left-handed path and blah blah blah. And I started
Mhm,
looking into it and I'm like, I see the danger in it. I do. But I also see the education on that side of it. And while you definitely need to talk about the dangers of it and let people know that, like, yeah, you're gonna be walking around in darkness with limited light and resources, and you need to either be able to replenish those resources or be okay with the fact that you're gonna run out. But I also think people should learn that it can be a teacher, like, that's what I did. I
mm,
'Cause I had some dark fucking days. I mean, anytime I was on the surface, it was chaos.
mm.
And not the fun kind of chaos, not the artistic chaos where you're like, "I don't know what I wanna paint," slams things on a
Right,
canvas, you
Jackson
know?
Pollock, yeah.
Yeah, like, it wasn't like, "I don't know what I'm writing," or like, "I don't know what I'm doing today," and ends up playing, like, 16 rounds of whatever video game. It was like chaos, like, leaves your mouth feeling bloodied and sore, but also
Mm,
sour at the same time, can't walk correctly, like, brain's a mess.
yeah.
Chaos, and I started learning that, "Alright, I think I need to switch directions here," and at the time, I didn't know that the darkness was what I was spinning around in and being slapped by a bunch of light switches. It was like
Mhm.
lightsabers were just happening. One of my and he's just fucking excited as hell right now.
Hmm.
But it's like lightsabers were just appearing out of nowhere and just slashing the shit out of me, and I kept getting
Mm,
fucking burned.
yeah.
And then it hit me, "Close your fucking eyes, idiot." Let the dark seep in for a minute and really listen to where the footsteps are coming from. Listen to where the breeze is coming from. Just listen for a second. And then instead of fighting yourself to move around, start moving in the opposite direction of where the sound is coming, but in a way that you know how to move. And
Mm,
eventually the way I knew how to move evolved as,
hmm,
life got
right.
harder and I got more experienced and things happened. And then now I have a really healthy respect for darkness, I feel.
That's
Um,
awesome.
now we're cool as hell. Like I regenerate in the dark in a lot of
Right.
ways. I call myself a medical vampire. Not for any kind of like social currency or anything, but because medically speaking, like between the anemia, the allergy to UV light, all that kind of stuff, it stacks up and it just kind of makes the dense situation more fun.
I've seen you eat blood.
I do have to do that 'cause, just a little, educational note for the listeners, there's a difference between ferrous iron and hemi iron, and some of us can only tolerate hemi iron at certain levels, so in goes the
Mm.
bloody meat and the blood capsules.
Yeah. I've seen the capsule. Sorry if I just outed you.
No, that's totally fine. If you've seen me out in public anywhere, you either mistake me for a Unabomber or just, like, some gothic punk weirdo. It's like, "It's
Whoa.
90 degrees, why are you wearing all of those layers? Oh my god," and the sunglasses, and then I have to wear gaiters over my face when it's really bad because I get burned across my mouth and cheeks.
That
It's
is
just
hilarious.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great. So I'm gonna, make a sweatshirt that just says medical vampire, couple of them, so I can just wear that out with a
Yeah,
link.
that'll definitely make people, look a little feel a little less weird about
Mhm,
about
mhm.
your presence, Jeff.
Yeah, well, I gotta wear gloves and everything. Like, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon in, like, July, I'm just walking into somebody's establishment, they're like, "Oh my god," and I have to, like, take off all these layers, and then it's just little old me
Right.
underneath everything. Sometimes I don't even take them all off, I just take down the hood and stuff because I think at this point, the body's used to being hot all the time, so
Mm,
it's
mm.
just this is fine.
That's
This
so
is
funny.
it's whatever.
I love it. It's a
But
vibe.
it definitely is. It's I feel bad for anybody who's ever had to share an office with me because 'cause I'm also photosensitive, so
Mm.
everything is dark all the time.
When you and I worked in an office together, though, it kinda worked out because I like working in the dark too.
Eh
Not because I'm a medical vampire, but just because I'm like a freaky little computer, like, cave dweller.
Hey, man, like, normal people get stimulation from the darkness too. I mean, that's when your cells replenish themselves and flip over, and there's been a fascination with darkness for as long as man and all other genders have been around. I'm sorry, guys, I am analog millennial, I'm doing the best I can here. But yeah, no, it's been a fascination, and it's been a place where people do heal and do get messages, and people talk about their subconscious and everything. Let me tell you one thing, the subconscious does not wanna be in the sunshine. There's
Mhm,
none desire to be up in the fucking sunshine. There's 0, zip, nada. Don't want it.
mhm.
Barely wanna be making sentences right now, but have to because for some reason, the only thing that we're able to process is a unicorn running around with a tiny, strange Batman figure on its back and a bow and arrow. Like, it's weird, but we'll get the message, but
Mhm,
it thrives in darkness. It's one of the things that just lives there. Like ideas tend to spark in darkness because
mhm.
there's contrast. Like there's darkness all around it, and then the spark happens, and then you notice, and you're like, "Oh shit,"
Yeah.
and you start to piece things together. Sound doesn't need light,
Mhm,
not at all.
mhm.
Sound happens. A lot of sound happens in darkness.
Yeah, it's
It's
true.
just one of those things, and you can get rejuvenated from it because there's an absence of energy. And light while light is great, it's good for seeing things. I know when I'm, like, hunting critters and shit, I wanna see what the fuck is going. I
Yeah,
do not wanna lose, the silver dollar size spider running around and anywhere. I would
right,
like to murder it
right.
profusely. But the thing of it is, like, darkness is an absence of that particular energy, so it's not really bombarding you, so you have time to, like, sit with yourself, to sit with your experiences, to sit with what or whomever might be in the darkness with you, and just kind of really understand what's going on, and it does give you license to work because there's not as
Mhm,
much happening. Like,
right.
your skin can see just as much as your eyes, it's just a different type of seeing,
Mhm,
and sometimes it needs a break.
mm,
You know,
mhm,
that's something I've learned being so photosensitive. Because even right now I have I think it's like a 9-watt bulb,
mhm.
and it's an LED, and even after all of this, like, after having a conversation and, like, recording and everything, I'm gonna have to shut it off and sit in the dark because my cells are like, "Holy shit, too much light, too much
Right,
light, too much light."
right,
Because 'cause I'm usually in a hoodie, and today I'm not, 'cause I don't wanna wear one.
right,
But yeah, at the same time, that I'm also gonna be able to get more work done because my cells are gonna be screaming, "Oh my god, we're under fire."
right.
We're under attack, which everybody's cells do scream that at some level, but it's just the tolerance that's different. Like, you can
Mhm,
tolerate it a hell of a lot better than I can, but even still, when the lights are off, then your brain is kinda like, "Okay, I can go down to this low humming mode,
mm,
and I can focus on what's right in front of me, or I can focus on what's been around me, confusing me, or I can, down throttle and just kinda, for a second, like, right after the really annoying credits in the movie, but before the trailers, like, it's kinda like, "Oh, okay, cool, now they stop bombarding me with, like, concession stand ads and shit." It's
mm.
like I can whew.
What's that AMC ad that everyone's memeing on? Because it's, like, that actress who's just, like, together have you seen this where they're like, she's, like, does some, like, emotional, impactful speech? She's like, "The movies aren't just a theater, it's a place where we love, a place where we fear, a play it's, like, so melodramatic, and it's, like, about AMC theaters, and everyone's just been memeing on it lately, it's mad funny.
Whoa. No, I think I'm at that age where I'm like, they're doing what on the Who now?
Yeah.
No, but that's yeah, it doesn't surprise me. That
Sorry for
doesn't
just completely T-boning your train of thought with an
no,
AMC meme.
it's alright. It's kinda like when the semi is going through the light and then, like, it gets T-boned, but the car that's T-boning it is, like, this thing that actually fits underneath it. It's really just a scuff. It's just kinda slides right under, the truck driver's like, "What the shit?" Yeah, it's a lot like that. No, that's no disrespect to AMC, but you guys do gotta get melodramatic here and there. Showcase Cinema has you in there, like, rocking out.
Yeah, right.
Like, they have the and forgive me because I don't know what it's called, but it's the analog kind of, like, kickstart bass drum machine, but it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
any of the pretty things, it's just literally the analog machine itself.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah, that. But, like, it goes on and it makes this whole thing, and, like, by the end, you're kinda jamming to it if you're a nerd like me.
Right.
Yeah, Showcase is where it's at. Plus, you just
Hell
get
yeah.
to, like, chill out, and the way that they have their bass tuned in those fucking oh, it's like a sound chamber. Oh.
Right. Shout out Showcase.
Yes, sorry. It's my inner undergraduate film student coming out to play a little bit.
I love that. Can I
Yeah.
bring something up real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I loved earlier you used the word contrast when talking to, the topic of darkness, and I feel like that is such an important thing. I think it's, like, so when you're talking about light and dark, I'm talking, I guess, for me and my perspective more from kind of like a mental and emotional place. Like, I've always explored darkness, with contrast, of light, and what I mean by that is, like, the earliest I can think of, like, going back and me kind of exploring the kinda more, like, darker parts of, like, my mind and my emotions were probably around the age of, like, 11, 12, that kind of area, and I've gone back and I've even seen old I used to doodle in my notebook all the time in school. I used to get in trouble constantly because I was always drawing in class, like, that's who I was. I wanted to be an
No.
animator for many, many years, and I still do animation, like, as a hobby, but
It's pretty awesome, and Spence, you have to draw on the pages that the teachers have already seen so that
yeah.
they already sign off on it. Then you go back, and when they go, "What are you doing?" You go, "Oh, I'm making more notes so I can get it better."
I missed that one. Yeah, I was always just doodling, and I would also get in trouble because I would draw pictures of I would draw caricatures of my teachers.
It's art, get over it.
Actually, I had one really cool teacher who I remember he came up and he, like, was standing behind me and I didn't see him and he was looking down at my paper and I was drawing a caricature of him and then I, like, looked up and I was like, "Shit," and then he just was like, "That's pretty good," and then kept walking and I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude."
That's
Like,
amazing.
he's the
That's
man.
I love teachers like that.
Right? But looking back at those drawings, like, definitely, that's around the age for me when I was alwa like, when I was a kid, I was kind of aware of, darker topics and, like, kinda how dark the world can get. I had definitely, seen both through media and in real life kind of weird I mean, maybe not weird, but, bizarre and dark things, and I think around that age is when it was really starting to, like, bubble up inside of me, and I was trying to kind of cope with those feelings. I think it was really, really difficult for me, and the way that it would come out was in my drawings, and the thing that I would do is I would take, like, very and it wasn't like an intentional thing. I would take very beloved childhood characters that I loved to draw, and I would draw them in really kind of fucked up and weird scenarios. So I would kind of take, well-known IPs that I loved, SpongeBob, Mario. You could even take like Mickey Mouse, and I won't name exact things, but I would draw them kind of in undesirable situations, I guess maybe at times. Like and like for example, like I would. This is a little dark, so I apologize, but like I have this
Don't
one
apologize.
memory of like drawing like this very as hyper realistic as I can make it, like Mickey Mouse just like overdosing on heroin. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because it was like that was a new thing that I was like, and I was like, that is so sad, and like I had a hard time, like, and I was just like, so sorry. So what I'm trying to say is that
No,
I
don't
would
apologize.
explore these topics through contrast with like light, like these things that I typically associated with more happy-go-lucky energy. I mashed them together, and that's how I was able to kind of like begin exploring those feelings. And naturally, I would sometimes get in trouble for drawing these things in school.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just, kids shouldn't be drawing these things. You're
Mhm.
not supposed to know this, but then you get the flip side of the kid who's seen somebody with a needle in their arm who doesn't draw them, and then they grow up all kinds of like, "I can't talk about it, shush, be quiet."
Right.
Like, you put it in a box and don't talk about it. No,
Right.
I think I don't even remember the question, but that just sparked my brain to go, and if you remember it, please remind me. But
Yeah. I think we're just
but
talking about contrast.
okay. Okay, cool. That brings back. But I think that that's an interesting point to like how we were talking about earlier, more cartoons in the West when you're younger, how it's vastly different. Like, yeah, you took two things that were seemingly polar opposites, very different ideals, and you'd been inundated with the happy, and then you've just seen like the meteor of just all of this shit come crashing down. And
Right.
in your brain at that moment, your brain was like, need to figure this out. So I'm going to sketch it out in a way that I'm perceiving how this would look if my happy go lucky person was hit by this particular meteor of despair. Like, what would
Yeah.
this look like?
Right.
And then you put it on paper and you're like, I feel emotions, do not like, not what I want, input into the system memory that this is, we don't like this.
Right.
If possible, we are against this at all
Yeah, well,
times.
and truthfully too, sometimes it was funny. Like, sometimes
Yeah.
the contrast, like, bred, like, humor to me, like,
Yeah.
maybe not as much the Mickey Mouse one, but, like but, like, there's sometimes I would draw those things and seeing, like, things like beloved, squeaky clean Western characters in these
Mhm.
situations is just kind of funny because, comedy is kind of this push and pull emotionally, right? And so, I think kind of exploring darkness through humor, obviously there is a it starts to get into a gray area because when you start to explore darkness through humor, sometimes, you can start hitting very sensitive areas. You have to be very careful with how you do that as to not hurt or offend people. It's a thing that you have to learn by doing it, and sometimes you cross the line by unintentionally, or sometimes, like, you try to see, like, where is the line?
Yep.
And then you cross it, and someone's like, "That's not cool." And then you're like, "Okay, that's where the line is. I now know where the line is." You know?
Yeah. Oh, I've crossed that line many times.
Um,
Many times.
I think humor is a great way to explore darkness. It's definitely where I've done most I think humor and art is definitely where I've done most of my exploration of, like, my internal relationship with darkness. Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually talking to Ashley about this at some point, and one day I'll get everybody to do this at the same time, minus John, obviously. John is our imaginary chef. She's real, I promise, but it doesn't seem like it. But yeah, I was talking to Ashley about that and comedy specifically, and I was like, I'm starting to understand why so many historically angry people end up being comedians, and people go, you're making an ass of yourself, like all these things, and it's like you don't understand what it takes to put the anger back in the pot, because one thing I also talked to my therapist about because I try to have some accountability for my crazies is I talked to my therapist about the different ways energy presents itself and how having a rage core is not necessarily a bad thing. Like being
Mhm.
submerged in darkness is not a bad thing if you know what you're doing.
Right.
Or if you're with somebody who knows what they're doing and you're actively learning what to do in it. But I was talking to him about it and I'm like, having the rage core is not the bad part. And he, we agreed, we got to that point where he could agree that the rage core isn't a bad thing. But when anger taps into the rage core without having the proper, material, the proper safety gloves, the proper procedures, not
Mm,
handling it correctly, it comes out malformed and misaligned and not great at all.
mm,
But then when the rage core is handled correctly and with the correct, dampening coils and filters and things, it can come out as a power source instead of a weapon. Because
mm,
really, when you break down weapons, it's an unbalanced power source that's being kept apart, and then that mechanism is designed to fail so that the bad reaction happens and it
mm,
becomes a weapon.
mhm,
Like, you're designing the failure of the reaction.
mm,
But then when you're doing working with the rage core, when you can deal with it correctly, it can come out as things like I'm an incredibly sarcastic person, and people have told me you're fucking hilarious, and I'm like, I don't see it, but cool, man. I'm like I think Kevin Hart has a special laugh at my pain,
Mm,
and I believe it's Kevin Hart. I'm like 75% sure. If it's not, please correct me politely. But, no, it's like laugh at my pain because I went through it. I got on the other
mhm,
side of it. There is another side to it, and there are really 2 avenues that energy is designed to go in, and one of those avenues is staring down the comical, which forces you to take a look at it, at
mhm,
what you're actually doing, which is why just throwing things out there to be funny, air
mhm,
quotes,
mhm,
is not exploring darkness, it's not exploring anything, it's literally just to get a laugh, and that ain't cool, man. Genuine
mm.
laughs hold and sustain you way more than the breathy "get the fuck out of my face," like, kind of
Right,
stuff, you know?
right.
But that energy slowly becomes comedy. It slowly becomes use this to kind of build bridges and power cities instead of destroying lives and making things crumble. Like if it's got to crumble to be rebuilt, that's one thing. But just to
Right.
make it crumble to go, I can do that. Fucking cares. Like
Yeah.
and there is a responsibility to having that kind of a core. There's a responsibility to being in that kind of darkness too. And I think everybody's
Yep.
got a responsibility, but when you're in the dirge and you have that kind of heft or that kind of force behind it, that kind of heft,
Mhm.
you gotta learn how to deal with it, which is why
Yes.
dwarves are awesome. But
Yeah. Well, so I love that. So, like, something that I've said before that I realized, like, as I was maybe in my, like, mid-20s is I was like, "I could have been a really good bully. And not because I'm intimidating, physically. If anybody, like, has met me, I'm like a 5'4", like, I'm a little dude, right? Like, people could definitely especially I was even shorter, like, back in the day, so, like, definitely people could beat the crap out of me. But,
oh,
like,
man.
the thing is that, like, I've been told that I have pretty high, like, EQ and, like, emotional intelligence. I'm pretty good at, like, being in a room with people, and I like trying to make people feel, like, comfortable and safe. Like, that's something I really strive to do, and
Good
I
at it.
can pick up on small cues of, like and my assumptions of how people are feeling, and I try to do my best to cater to that. But, like, the flip side of that is that, like, if that is weaponized, if that EQ is, like, weaponized, like, you can really I've certainly before said things to people when I'm in a rageful or angry state where, like, I can craft a sentence that will make someone cry.
Mhm,
You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. So, like, going to that, like you're saying, the responsibility of having that kind of, like, dark part of you and keeping that regulated is hard. I grew up my parents, very much drilled in me the importance of, like, being polite and being empathetic and being kind to people and,
mhm,
like, through, both from a religious perspective, from a just like logistic society, why it's better to be kind and empathetic, like from every possible angle. My parents always like was like it's important to be kind to people.
mhm,
And they themselves are always very kind people, but who also totally have the capacity if they wanted to really like fuck somebody up. That's my perspective on my parents. And I've always admired, like, the restraint that they've had to not and to choose the path of kindness, right? Like, I
yeah.
really do truly admire that about my parents. And so, like, I've always felt, though, this, like, thing inside me where I'm just like, "Damn, like, if I really had wanted to, like, I restrained myself, but I feel" and, I say bully as if it's exclusive to, like, being a kid. Like, I think even as there's adult bullies too, right? So it's like, I guess what I'm saying, like, I could be a huge asshole.
Yeah, you can be a person, like, you hardcore can be a shit person. Like,
Right.
absolutely, like, I remember Ashley got me a cameo from Jesus, we joke about his name so much, I hope I don't fuck this up. Stephen John Ward, who
Mm,
plays, Dracula Mihawk in Netflix's live action One Piece.
okay.
But he one of the lines he said was, "Don't be a shit person,"
Mm,
and he has just such sassy venom just dripping from just every word, it just stuck to my brain like tar.
Mm,
but it's good tar, like, he made a road in my brain, so now every time I wanna do something shitty with my rage core, I'm like, "Don't be a shit person." I'm like,
right,
"The sassiest bitch dad in One Piece just told me not to be a shit person, so I have to not be a shit person,
right.
but just so you know, I wanna be, and I could be, but I won't."
Right. Which, I mean, I think there it's like practicing that level of, like, restraint and stuff, not
Mhm.
it's a skill, it's a practice, it's a yeah, I don't know. I think I have a lot of respect for people who practice and showcase that kind of restraint. And however, I also have a lot of respect for people who don't though, too. I'm interested to hear this whole thing about, like, being you were saying earlier about the theory about, like, how it's actually sometimes more productive to be an ass.
Yeah.
I'm very interested. I'll have to listen to that episode because I wanna know definitely more about that. And that's your cue, listener, to go check out that episode as well.
What it's called, none of us know because we've all given up on marketing. Every single one of us, we just gave up.
Right. I think, something though that I'm just thinking about it that I would be interested to get your perspective on. I'll share mine really quick, and I wanna know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
yours is. With having, like, a dark core, something though that I even in recent years, and I've been having this feeling, and I've been doing a pretty good job of, like, dismantling it and kind of, like, stomping it out,
Mhm.
but sometimes I've struggled with, I guess, what I'll just, like, refer to as, like, self-disdain for, like, having that, like and I've talked to a lot of people about it, and, like, I struggle with the idea of, like, you are not your thoughts. Like, you are your thoughts, but you're not your thoughts. Like, I've always been like, "My god, I'm such a terrible person because I have, like, very dark thoughts. That must mean I am awful." Like, when
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold anyone else to that same standard. But, like, for some reason, because I can see it in such high resolution in my own brain, I'm like, "God damn, I'm fucking evil."
As someone who has been accused of actually being evil, you are not. You are not evil at all. No, and it's like I'd like that you are your thoughts, but you're not your thoughts. I think some of the confusions that happen there are also in the mechanism of like you exist in the same space as your thoughts from possibly the same material, but you aren't them. Because I'm sorry, the random thoughts that pass my head about, hey, pink ice cream trucks are cool, coming just out of nowhere does not, I don't care
Mm,
about pink or an ice cream truck. I'm lactose intolerant and I don't care.
mm, mhm, mhm.
Like that's not me. That's just a fleeting thought of like, what if this were possible? No? Okay, bye. We'll go find
Right.
out where we are possible, but stuff like that. But I've to that point, I have been called evil. I've been called a bully. I've been like,
Mhm,
your anger is so bad to the point of like, all right, let me break it down for you.
mhm,
Like, I'm using my words, which means I'm not using my fists or
mhm.
back then my teeth or anything I could get a hold of.
Right.
I was a violent little fuck,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
now I'm not. But,
Right.
there was a shame and a self-loathing around, like, why can't I get my temper under control? And, yeah, there's a
Mhm,
chemical component to it sometimes. Like, for the darkness side, and I'll get to that one, there's no chemical component. I'm just a dark soul.
mm, mm.
But for, the anger side of it, like, confusing the anger with the rage, I was like, "No, there's gotta be something wrong with me." Like, there's all this and turns out it was just the anger was acting as an outlet for the rage. Like, there was nothing wrong with the
Mm.
rage core. It's an important core. It's part of the reason I like the whole Forge terminology with short work is because it's heavy, it's dense, it's metal, it's hot, it's uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and then really useful, really cool shit comes out of it if you learn how to temper it, if you learn how to work
Ah.
with it, if you learn how to move the forces correctly.
Mhm.
And at some point, you have to, I'm not even going to say give yourself permission because it's not a, you have my permission to not give a shit. It's
Mm.
more
Mm.
like
Yeah.
it's like you at some point have to be your own drill sergeant and go get the fuck up. This is
Mhm.
what you were given, learn to use it and pull your head out of your ass.
Right.
See, and there's that's where like the two wolves analogy comes from, like the one that you feed gets stronger. That's
Mm.
where you have two sides to yourself. The one but at some point too, you have to realize, and I think we're getting kind of into weird nod to Buddhism and Taoism somewhere
Mm.
in here, but you have to realize you need both sides. Like, I still need my
Right.
violent side.
Right.
And what I do with it now is I turn it into trees and I make artwork and
Right.
pour resin on everything and make crazy shit because I bend metal to release my stress. Um,
What a beautiful arc in your life. Like,
yeah,
that is so story-esque.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice, and now I get to use it to hopefully help other people get here.
Mhm,
But, like, I still might need it because, again, and I don't mean to go here often, but it's pertinent
mm,
being Black in America,
mhm,
and I'm not saying that it's just Black people. There are many groups that are marginalized, like autistic
mhm.
folks are veterans are marginalized, women in general are
Yeah,
marginalized, with indigenous folks are thrown to the wayside, like
right.
white guys who are trying to understand and are actually good people. Like, good people are
Mhm,
marginalized all over the place.
sure.
But it's not 100% safe, and it's not that it's okay that it's not 100% safe, but it's okay to acknowledge that it's not 100% safe.
Mhm,
Like, you're just prepping for it. But
mm,
on the off chance that something does happen, that violence will come in handy,
sure,
as long as I keep it maintained and I don't
right.
overfeed it, I don't overclock it, I don't get it used to being out on the surface all the time. Like, you wanna be on the surface, you go bend metal, you go make a tree. You go make a tree right now.
Right, right.
Or you go do chores. Like, when my neighbors piss me off, now I check the UV index. If it's not super high, I gear up and I go outside and I do chores to my Smiling Hammer playlist and come off my ledge
Right.
instead of putting a hammer through a wall and then cut.
Totally. So you're saying, like, it's not a matter of repressing it or starving it. It's a matter of learning how to work with it and train it and figure out other mechanisms, to work with it rather than against it.
Yeah, because it's only a monster when you don't understand it and
Mm.
you don't tame it.
Ooh. Oh, my spine. I just got chills up my spine. Oh.
What's it feel like? I haven't felt my spine since 2005.
That's I love that. I think that's like most things.
Yeah, that's and
That was a beautiful sentence, Jazz.
thank you. Thank you. I'm only gonna take some credit because again, I'm a spiritual nerd, so I
Mm,
go through a lot of different practices and stuff, and if a lot of people are like, "What do you practice?" I'm an omnist, for lack of a better term.
mm,
Everybody's right and everybody's wrong. There's an answer and everything. But that's the thing about hermetics and Eastern philosophy and all of these things and martial arts even is that you're martial arts, a lot of them started off for just normal people who had an incredibly disheartening and dangerous and fucked up circumstance happen to them,
mm,
and they had to go from living their normal lives of farming and trading and tilling and doing all of that to now I have to become a warrior in the spur of a moment and all I have is a hoe.
mm,
Shit.
mhm,
But then you turn it into now we do chores with the same movements and the same maneuvers, and we do the chores, and our body is better for it, and the chores get done. And, all of these things start happening and working together. Like you have to understand it. It's not just
mm.
put it in the closet and forget about it. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't don't do that.
Yeah, and repression, I mean, I feel like I like to say it's very I'm generalizing here, but, like,
Hey,
I'm half Irish, and I just feel like it's par for the course for us Irish folk to just repress, just like
that's why we get along. You're Irish. I'm Jamaican. That's a whole thing. We have history.
you just push it down, you gotta just squeeze it and hold it really tight,
Put
and
it in a
some
box
and
and pray about it.
right, right. Drink yourself till you're, comatose so that
Hmm.
you're not thinking about it anymore, right?
Right.
And that's a whole other thing too, is like, self-medicating or, using a vice to try to avoid those dark thoughts and feelings. That's a whole other, tangent. But I feel like the problem with that, with the repression thing is like over time, there becomes a certain point where your body physically just like can't anymore. And I've definitely like in my mid-20s, like, I didn't realize how much I was, like, repressing my, like, sadness, anger, and frustration, and then it was, like, exploding, and I was like, not in a way that was, like, damaging to those around me or whatever, but, like, emotionally, I just felt I was like all of a sudden, I was like, "What's going on with me?" Like, the amount of, like, panic attacks I was having, the amount of just, like, rage I was having, like, that was just seeping out of my skin, and, like, all these different things. The amount I was trying to cope with, like, alcohol and, like, all and it was just like, "What the fuck?" And I, like, realized, like, "Oh." It's because, like, all of these, like, dark and bad thoughts inside of me, I've just been condensing them into, like, a really dense little ball, and that ball has just been getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over the years,
Mhm.
and me, I was like, I when I was a young kid, I used to get the comment all the time, like, "He's so chill. He's so go with the flow," and, like, which it was true, but I realized it was because, like, all of my anxiety and fear and anger was being just, like, condensed, and, like, I it was a defense mechanism to, like, I'm gonna outwardly be the as I'm gonna try to cause as little friction to everyone around me as possible. I'm going to try to be water and just because I don't want, conflict to arise, and I don't want to be a part of said conflict. But what I was doing in turn was taking all the emotions and negativity and the darkness that I had and was forming it into a little ball. And I had no idea. And then I hit my mid 20s and it was like, what the hell's going on here? Oh, it's 25 years of repressed dark anger and rage and anxiety, and it just exploded. And now I have a much better relationship with it,
Mhm.
but it's sorry, that was just like I just blacked out. What just happened?
You gave rage a platform to have a conversation, and it decided it was gonna take it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's what happens. I mean, that's it it'll come out in ways you don't want it to come out, and, even if it's coming out in, like, anxiety, if it's shutting down your, organs or what have you, it does come out through your body one way or another, that kind of
Mhm.
repression. Pardon me, everybody, it's still allergy season here, so,
Yeah.
there's
Could I
no
just throw
s
one other thing in there really quick?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry. I was just thinking about it too. The weird part is, though, from my memory of it, no one ever, like, tried to make if that was totally self-imposed. Nobody ever was like, "Dude, you gotta push that shit down." There was just something, like, in me that over time, like, just did the math of that and was like, "That must be what I have to do."
Yeah, well, you probably saw it quite a bit
Hmm.
and probably felt it because humans are very nonverbal creatures.
Mm,
And you probably picked it up because your subconscious and unconscious minds, which yes, they are two different things,
mm,
are on all the time.
mhm,
All the it's how like your heart is always beating and your lungs are always moving air. Because if they
mhm,
don't, you're dead. Yeah, like that's what's happening on the inside all the time. And it makes sense. And I'm not diminishing it and just going, it's just this. It's just these are some of the raw data points that you can
sure.
latch onto. And if you decide to go down that route, go for it.
Right.
But even still, even when you were told to push it down, because again, Irish and Jamaican are very close, it was no, push that shit down and don't ever bring it up again. Be quiet.
Mm,
This it's just part of life. Just don't ever talk about it. Don't ever talk about it. Don't ever talk about it. And that's just something that they also learned, like, don't ever talk about it. You don't talk about it. Like, be quiet. It does the same amount of shit to you. Like, I have chronic fatigue syndrome because my body is like, I can't adrenaline anymore. It
uh-huh,
tries, and then when it does, it holds on to it for sometimes several months into over a year,
mm. And is that
but
like a pattern? Like, because it's like it learned to do it that way?
yeah.
Yeah.
So once it gets heightened, it's not easy to bring it back down,
Damn.
but it's from a bunch of repression and a bunch of learned patterns, and even if, I wasn't fronting or I wasn't in charge the entire time, the body learned, you know?
Mhm,
And then you do start dealing with your own shit internally, and that's gotta come out one way or another, and
mhm.
it's usually through your body.
Right.
So then it's getting a double whammy of dealing with its shit and your shit,
Mhm.
and then you're both trying to figure out what the hell a thought is. So it's
Right.
everybody's just in the dark swinging around, which is again why I say darkness isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is a thing to move carefully in. Not overly
Mm,
cautious, but like acknowledge the fact that yes, it is dark and I am moving in unfamiliar territory.
right.
That's not to say there's not a bunch of stuff to find, that there's not a bunch of stuff to explore, not a bunch of stuff that, you can't use as medicine, but it's dark.
Right. Right.
It's a dark force, and I do like that you put bad and dark together, and hear me out, pardon me. Ooh, I ate a salad yesterday, and my little carnivore system is just like, we're not fully sure what to do with it.
What the hell? Yeah.
It had Caesar dressing on it with actual anchovies, so there was some kind of protein in it.
Shit, bless
Yeah, right? That's how we handle burps here. Go eat fiber, it's good for you. But yeah, you put them together, and I think a lot of people do that. They take
Mm,
bad and they take dark and they put them together in one cell, and I don't know what the fuck we're expecting to happen. Those
mm,
motherfuckers start talking, and bad is very persuasive because bad makes you feel good immediately, but feel worse later. But that's like a bad drug. It's
ooh,
like I'm gonna overdose on bad, on carnage, on things that don't have any actual structure and usefulness. It's just wild, unsorted chaos that's running around causing havoc to do nothing more than cause havoc. And
mm,
it's got a purpose because without it, we wouldn't really understand what good looks like in this existence. So
mhm,
we need that there. But when dark is in there, dark is like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Sure. Use
right,
fine. Yeah, no, you're making some good points, Bat. No, I get it. How do I get you to stop talking?
right.
I give you whatever you want. Just shut the fuck up,
Mm,
you know? And
that
then
is
they
short-sighted.
that is very short. But then, you have those 2 in there talking to each other, and then they keep talking and growing and growing and growing. As much as Darkness wants to be like, "Bad, go fuck yourself." It's like,
Mm,
"Alright, well, I mean, yeah, you are okay, fine, you are making good points. I'm not just trying to shut you up this time." Yeah, no, they definitely should. You know what? You're right. Maybe we should show them that they should do it a different way. And then,
mm.
at least the way that I've seen it, is Bad starts manipulating Darkness, and Darkness becomes this corrupted thing, which then escapes, and then I think Blake says it's bad.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. You're making me rethink a little bit my relationship with, like, or rather just, like, my perspective on, like, the dark side of things and, like, is my actual, do I have, like, an ingrained perspective of darkness equals bad, right? Those are 2 different things, right? And
Yeah,
you're so right about that.
yeah.
'Cause I think the dark parts of our mind too, like, when you going kinda back to comedy, I think I love stand-up comedy. Like, some of the best stand-up comedy that, like, sticks with me goes to really dark places, but it's not in a bad way. It is then the darkness is tooled to then relate to you and make
Yep.
you feel safe and less weird about these dark places, and that's not bad. That's good. So
Yeah,
it's good darkness. So I think that's really interesting. I love the way you put that of, like, they're in a cell together and they start talking.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to start really thinking about my perspective on darkness and its association with badness. Yeah. Thanks, Jess.
Hey, you're welcome, man. Again, there are
Same time next
benefits.
week.
Yes. My God, I feel like Ashley would just erupt out of the screen from wherever she is and just
Big old punch.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, like that's kind of what these again, that's chatting, letting the 2
Mhm.
darknesses actually see each other for a change. Cause and I've had people go, "Well, you must love dark because, you're allergic to the sun and all this pain and blah blah blah." One, pain does not equal agony. Pain is just pain. It's
Mm,
calm down.
mm.
And two, without the sun, my food can't get food, so I can't eat,
Right.
and I need to eat. Like, the sun's got its thing, and then I see sometimes sunrises are great. Like, 4 o'clock in the morning here in sunny Massachusetts in spring, summer, the sunrise is great and the UV index is low, so it's a nice time for me to go outside and actually enjoy it, and when I say
Beautiful.
low, I mean it's like 0.01.
Mm,
So there's low risk for burn. So I can go
mm.
enjoy it up until, about 6, 7 o'clock, and then I gotta get my ass inside or a fry like a fucking sliver of bacon. But, you know, I don't like contending with the sun, but
Mm,
I see its value and its need, and that there are some people who do enjoy it. Some people do enjoy bright things. I mean, if you would have known me yeah, if you would have known me before, before I hit this level of understanding, I guess, and knowing who the fuck I am, what the fuck we are, how we operate, you would have gone, well, you hate all things bright. And I might have agreed with you because I didn't understand that, yeah, I don't like the color yellow because the wavelength in my eyes do not mix. And yet everything in my house is sepia toned because I need warm lighting because
mm.
blue light hurts way more.
Yeah, yeah.
But then, like, I learned that, and then I started utilizing artwork and stuff and like, painting and putting more stuff out there because I like colors. I know it's
Mhm,
hard to believe, but I love colors, and I understand that colors exist in this iteration with light.
mhm.
Without light, I can't have my colors. I can't make awesome resin tables that just look like magic.
Right. Right.
So like I've learned that light is it's important, but I also need to regulate it so that I don't go back into that corrupted acid acidic nature of all things bright are evil, you know, because
Right.
all things bright aren't evil. They're
Certainly not.
it's not bad. I mean, I have my preferences. I do like darker, deeper tones,
Mhm.
but they're just a bit more comfortable. It's just I had to take a second to understand the brightness, to understand the light a little bit more. And
Right.
yeah, I talk shit to the sun all the time, like you stupid son of a bitch, you up there just shining, doing your own thing. Which I love it when we get pictures back from NASA with the sunlight giving us the finger. I take that as a personal fuck you, Jess, and I'm like, yeah, there it is.
That's so funny.
Yeah, pineapples are my favorite fruit because they try to eat you back.
Mhm.
So, like, I kinda think of it and when I'm having really shitty days, like, I think of my conflict with the sun as kind of a back and forth, but then I also know that I go back into, you know, my dark little hole, and then night falls, and I can come bright the fuck back out and, you know, experience life a little bit more, and it's a different life at night. Like, dark
Mm.
life is ooh, it is vastly different, and a lot of people who are used to brighter life and sunshine and happiness and
Mhm.
you know, whatever, not that there's anything wrong with it.
Right.
When they see dark life, they're like, "Oh god, it's fucking terrifying." And it's like, it's not I could see that, but it's not.
Right. Yeah. I think well, I would imagine for a lot of people when you're talking about, like, literal dark life, right, I think that part of that probably is biological programming of just, like, I can't see as well, there's possible threats around. There's something that kind of triggers in your mind of just, like, "Am I in danger?" So, I
Yeah.
get that, you know? I have a problem where, for the life of me, my circadian rhythm is just fucking constantly broken. It's like a it's like a little broken toy that I keep trying to get, like I keep winding it up to try to get it to do a backflip even though one of the legs on it's, like, cracked off, like,
Mhm,
I it's never consistent. So, like, I will have certain weeks where I am waking up at 7:30 AM and I'm, going to bed at, 10 PM or whatever, right?
mhm,
And then the next week, I'm going to bed at 3 AM and I'm waking up at 10 PM. Like, it's bad. It's never consistent, but I enjoy the atmosphere of walking around outside really late at night when nobody else is awake. There's
yep,
something about that is oddly peaceful, or being up late and working on things late at night where it's like, no, the rest of the world is asleep
yep,
and nobody's gonna bother me.
yeah,
And I can
it's
just lock in.
it's that Sandman energy, man. You can it's almost like you can feel the healing from all of the REM sleep and second
Mhm,
wave sleep and delta waves, and it's just like, "Oh, cool, I can, like, motor down and actually focus, and I feel grounded enough to do so." Like, if something were to interrupt me, I could go, "What is that?" and not freak out about it, you know, kind of that kinda thing. Because and then circadian rhythms do play a huge part in this. Because last night, I think I for this morning, I went to sleep at 5:30 and got up at 7:13.
mhm, mhm.
But that's normal for me, and at about 3 o'clock, I'll conk out for 2 more
Yeah,
hours, and then I'll just be up, and then I might take a nap at 11 o'clock at night and then move around.
that's wild.
Yeah, it's just that my rhythms are wild, but at
Yeah.
the same time,
Yours is
like you
more
said,
broken than mine is. Yours doesn't even have legs. Your wind-up toy doesn't even have legs.
it's because it's not supposed to be on land, Spence, it's supposed to be in the bathtub.
Why doesn't this work?
'Cause it's a fish. But yeah, so, like, all of that to say is maybe your circadian rhythms might actually be a little on a different set of things. That's part of the medical vampire for me. Because when the body is like, I need sleep," and I did go looking at this, and it turns out it's a really, really ancient way of human bodies taking time to regenerate because that's
Mm.
when threat matrices were lowest and all this other stuff. So you could actually be experiencing some, like, old school genetic programming
Yeah.
and the fact that you're able to put some of that aside at like the what's going on? Am I safe? What's this threat looking like right now?
Mhm,
And you can enjoy the nighttime.
mhm.
It's nice. Like it's nice
Yeah,
to hear because you do like the sunshine and going out during the bright hours.
love it. Gonna do
Yeah.
that today probably after we end this pod. I'm probably gonna go on a quick walk.
Yeah. You know, I'm actually in the darkest part of my apartment. There's not a single room window here. And I'm underground, so
You're content.
I'm safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, but you still take the time to walk in the darkness at night, and, like, I still take the
Mhm,
time to enjoy the morning when I can, you know?
mhm.
And when it's a dark and gloomy day, you guys get ready for it because I switch on daywalker mode.
That's when you have your vampire sweatshirt, your medical
Yeah,
vampire sweatshirt and walk
yeah.
around.
That's exactly correct. Exactly, because like, if you see underneath it, I've got a UV sweatshirt underneath my sweatshirt, underneath
Mm.
this t-shirt with UV gloves, and a UV gator across my face with giant 400 UV extra dark lenses.
If I
Yeah.
dressed up like that, there would just be a perpetual puddle behind me. It would just be a snail trail of fucking sweat. I sweat just, like, with a t-shirt on.
Yeah.
I'm so hot that, like, there would literally just be constant sweat dripping out of my pant legs if I was dressed up like that.
Yeah, no, I think my skin has just figured out how to retool all of the moisture it loses, so that is just like my own steam room, my pores are just great. But, yeah, man, and side note, nod to darkness, because that again, that's where a lot of creativity comes out.
Mhm,
I Dev and I would not have met correctly if it wasn't for the fact that he does a lot of paintings and art himself, and I needed an outlet. When I used to get really upset and couldn't make words happen correctly, I would draw tiny little seemingly demon figures, come to find out they're more like little oni, like in the Japanese culture,
okay,
with
yeah.
like hatchets and stuff running around chasing people because I
Mm,
was annoyed,
mhm,
desperately annoyed.
mm,
Not angry, desperately annoyed.
mm,
But then, he started painting some stuff, and, like, one day, I think we ended up working on the same piece, and it's almost like the brain clicked and went, "Hey, you 2 actually know each other, you should talk," and I was like, "Alright, the
mm.
coffee guy? You want me to talk to the body's barista? Okay, that's fine."
Yeah,
But then we started working together, and I started mixing more dark tones, and he started encouraging more of it, and then, like, I get more canvas, and he explores more of his style, and then
mm,
even in, our darker moments, he expresses a lot of that on canvas, and then the body gets a chance to, "Oh, that's not a scary thought," or, "Oh, that's not a problematic thing, that's just Dev expressing himself," which is different than the rest of us, but, he's just putting it on paper of how he
mhm,
feels. So then when I go and I do it, because I do a lot of rage and like layered and abstract stuff,
mm,
expressionist stuff, the body doesn't freak out and break my fucking paintbrushes because it's like I'm not actually angry. I am also just trying to connect, and you put me in touch with Deb, and we do some awesome work together. So I would really like to just keep doing that, and you can just chill the fuck out. But we needed to go through dark times to get there. We needed to understand that the other one was there probably also going through the same shit, and the body had to understand that even though the times were dark and the expression was similar to something it understood in the past,
mhm,
our understanding was different. So its reaction, its part in this whole thing would also be different. In fact, it would be healing, and that's kinda how we started talking about all this stuff and, how ideas like podcasting. Yeah, well, that's what you do sometimes when you have that bullish energy. You just kinda, "Hey, why don't we retool this and make something good happen out of it?"
totally.
But yeah, so all that to say is I like the fact that you went the creative route with darkness because it's not even just artwork. I mean, that's where a lot
Mhm,
of people with PTSD heal. That's where a lot of people who help people with, traumatic experiences heal. That's where a lot of teachers find their solace away from they love their students, but they need to recharge. That's where
yeah,
your subconscious finds its voice.
right,
That's where all of these things kind of fall into place when it's dark and it's still and it's quiet and you have the opportunity to listen to, the whispers on the wind type
mhm, mhm,
type of thing. That darkness is not a bad thing.
right,
It can become a bad thing. Just
right,
about anything can become a bad thing. But it's got its moments. I think that's what we should probably remember. Like it can be scary,
right,
but
right.
you got this.
Right, like, explore it, have some level of, like, I don't know if caution's the right word. It's like walking through, like, if you're on a hike and you're walking through really tall, like, brush and things, right? It's like, you don't have to stare at every single inch and step and be freaked out the whole time, but you do need to be a little bit aware, make sure you're not stepping on any weird plants, make sure you're just keeping an eye out in case there's a venomous snake
Yep.
nearby, but, don't be afraid to explore it.
Yeah. I mean, a side note for any new hikers out there, that's any kind of brush, even if you just see leaves on the ground, be very careful where you step, especially in places like Massachusetts, where
Mm,
the ground is often uneven. Please don't
yep.
die.
Right. Please don't.
But
Um,
yeah, to that point though, that's you have to keep moving forward. Like
right.
you can explore it respectfully, and you should.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly. And I don't think that's not even just a word of advice. That's you're existing, and this is a part of existence. Much like space, it should be explored respectfully because
Right.
you don't know what you don't know. And if you're going into a dark place and you sense maybe I need a little bit of help because this is something I haven't dealt with before, I guarantee if you don't know somebody in your life who can help you out with it, you can find somebody who will help you out with it. And if you need those kind of resources, I must say, you can definitely drop us a line. We'll help you out.
Totally.
Um,
And the 'cause the opposite of that is what I was talking about earlier, which is, like, repression.
yes.
And feeling isolated and feeling like, "Oh my god, I must be some sort of freak or evil or something negative that I'm associating with it because I have these, thoughts and feelings or whatever."
Yeah, not a, and then that's the thing too, is like you're gonna have these thoughts, you're gonna have these feelings, and everybody's got dark moments, and I kind of I feel for the people who run from them.
Mm, mhm.
I get it if you need to take some space and like, whoa, that's a that's a dark cloud. I gotta deal with that, but whoa, give me a second.
Yeah.
Like that, there's a difference between taking a moment to regroup yourself and get ready for it, and then running from it infinitely. Because beyond repression, there's also burnout, and burnout's terrifying.
Mm,
Because when you're running from the thing, and the thing is inevitably going to catch you, because darkness, there, as much as there is day, there will always be night.
mhm,
It's gonna get you, and
mhm.
it's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you've been running from it and you've told yourself it's evil, it's bad, it's gonna kill me, it's gonna corrupt me, these are dark thoughts and all these things, you end up becoming the thing you fear, and darkness had nothing to do with it. Much like my tiff with the sun, it does not care.
Right, right. Yeah, there's people who run from it. I also for some reason, my brain just, like, had, like, this image of, like there are also people who will be staring face to face with darkness, and they'll get a paintbrush and try to and paint a big smiley face on it, and then they're just like they're not then observing, like, the irony or the humor of, like, "Oh, isn't it funny I tried to, like, make light of this thing," and they're legitimately like, "No, this is a happy thing." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I find that I don't relate to.
I don't either. I
Mhm.
kinda that actually freaks me out a little bit when I see people doing that, when they're just like, "No, this is a good thing," and I'm like, "Okay,
Right,
it's a thing. It's not good or bad. It's just there.
right.
It's okay. Do you need to talk to somebody?"
It's
Like,
some form of it's just some form of coping, I'm just not familiar with it.
it is some form of coping, but it does everything I hate the word disservice, but it does everything a disservice. 'Cause it's like, yeah, I'm gonna paint this happy, and it's you're coping with it, and you're trying to deal with it, but you're not seeing it for what it is, and then when you don't see it for what it is, when it inevitably shows you what it is to a point where
Right.
you can't ignore it, you're gonna end in a fetal position, and you're not getting back up.
Right, right. How do you combat it then or work with it then,
Right,
you
like
know?
and some people get there and they do get back from it, but they have support, or they have help, or
Mhm,
something in them snaps and their whole engine rewires it, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, fuck this,"
mhm.
But there are a lot of people who don't come back from that, and it's like, don't fear the darkness. It's like Blue Oyster Cult, don't fear the Reaper.
Ugh. I saw
Yeah.
them live with my dad when I was, like,
Ugh,
14.
man.
They fucking rocked.
I
It was
so
amazing
jealous.
show.
I wish I could do concerts. I can barely do, like, TV. Like, I'm sitting in my living room rocking back and forth because everything's too loud.
Right, right. Yeah,
No, that
maybe
sounds
not concerts then.
yeah, no, I miss it, though. I definitely miss that kinda stuff, like, that I wish I coulda seen them in concert, and Metallica.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah,
Lil
that'd be
Sis
cool.
saw Metallica in concert, and I was like, "You bitch." But yeah, man, it's like you don't really fear the darkness, and you just learn your weathering around it. And you might need a crew to weather
Mhm.
it, externally,
Right.
internally, whatever. You might need your crew. For those of us who are plurals, we definitely need our crew.
Mhm.
For those who are singulars with some external influence, you definitely need your crew. Like, I think everybody's
Mhm.
gonna need their crew one way or another, and to understand that there are some parts of the darkness that only you can go to. Just know that if you get stuck, we don't know where you are, but we're gonna just keep screaming until you figure it out.
Totally. I have a tattoo on my forearm that's it's a message in a bottle, and I got
Mhm,
this for myself because I realized at some point in my life, like, I need to remind myself, like, when I need help, ask for it.
mhm.
Like, and don't just try to weather it alone. When it gets to that point, ask for help. Throw out a
Yeah,
bottle, even if you don't know where, just
right.
out. somewhere, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, like, if people laugh at you when you're asking for help, they're not the right people to help you anyway. The right
Yeah,
people are out there. Like, the
yeah.
right resources there. You're coming up on things, and you're gonna be able to get through it one way or another.
That when they laugh at you like that, then you can pull that bully side out of you and just be
Yeah,
like, say something mean.
or you can just start laughing with them and
Right.
just keep laughing and walk away, and then look back at them and keep laughing and walk. People get really uncomfortable when you do shit like
Right,
that.
and then do the thing where you point at your 2 eyes and then you, like, point at them.
Yeah, and then just, like, respond to yourself like you're having a conversation, even if no one's talking inside or out, just like, "Yeah, I know, right?" Like, right? Yeah. No,
Oh my
it's
god.
one of those fucking things, man, that it's beautiful.
It is.
You do end up finding your people. Find your people, man. At the end of the day, all of us are going on our own fucking wild ass journeys,
Mhm,
and it's really important to find places where you can port in the storm and people who will get on that ship with you and
and have
go
cool
out there and
crossover
explore.
episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. We won't even get into that. I got things possibly cooking.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
hoping you also have things possibly cooking. And see, Spence is a forgiving sound guy. He doesn't try to bite our faces off or anything like
No,
that. He's
no.
nice. He's a nice guy.
I'm a
And then
nice guy. I just have seething rage just repressing inside of me. No.
it's okay. You can call the rage mechanic. I got you. Uh, I'll help you. That's actually something I wanna do now is I asked Ashley for a couple of resources on becoming a certified peer support specialist
Hmm.
because 'cause I've noticed that a lot of anger and rage and darkness, you know, programs are, "Okay, this is how we quell it. Okay, this is how we deal with it.
Oh.
Oh, this is how we cope with it," and it's not, "This is how we use it as a functioning part of our everyday." So that's something that is possible just for
Mhm,
all of my angry rage heads out there.
mhm.
You can retool the nuclear energy into being a power source. It's just it takes a lot of effort on your part and there's a lot of frustration. And you just have to be okay with the fact that you're going to be perpetually annoyed at all the dumb fuckery that you're going to experience. And
Right.
that's okay.
It's I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm oversimplifying this. I've always found, like, a lot of my anger is, like, disappointed idealism.
Sometimes it is. That's why I say anger is a toddler. It's not that it doesn't have a valid point of view. It just tends to be one of the younger emotions that takes a little bit longer to grow up. So, but we mistake it for being the same age because it's been around since, we could scream when we're hungry.
Mhm,
So we're like, no, but my anger is my age. And it's like, no, your anger's still a fucking toddler. You have to force that motherfucker to grow
mhm.
up. Like you have to put it in a hyperbolic time chamber, lock the door, and leave it there for a week.
Love it.
Like, yeah, it's not a bad thing to have innately, but it is the thing that needs to be tempered correctly. And
Right.
and everybody feels it to some extent. It's just everybody's got a different kind of core.
Right, right. And at some point, it definitely stems I like to sometimes look at things through the lens of, like, how our bodies have evolved. Like, clearly,
Mhm.
there was an evolutionary benefit to anger and rage, and so then it's just interesting to then have to adapt to that in modern society. Like, how where does that fit
Yeah.
in our modern setting, you know?
Yeah. Usually entertainment, hand trades,
Right.
craft.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, making people laugh because you've gone through it, or like that's usually if and I folks, comedians need a minute. Give them a minute after a show, especially. Like they're trying to be nice to you, but they just ripped open a bunch of trauma wounds that you can't give them a second.
Yeah.
Let them come back to I need to be social again.
Right. Let them finish a Diet Coke first.
Woo, woof, or a bourbon
Oh, sure.
or a blunt,
Four
whatever.
4K no lactose.
Yeah, exactly. All three.
Yeah.
Just leave them alone for just a second. But, like, I think, being able to retool stuff like that, like being able to retool anxiety into being somebody's cheerleader. Like, you know how many life coaches have anxiety? How many decent I'm not talking about the shit ones you find who are on, like, not even Groupon, like the Craigslist
Groupon,
group.
Groupon. That was what a poll.
But, like, nah, they're not those life coaches. I mean, the good ones who are, like, there with you in the shit. You
Right.
notice how they've had their own anxious, fit, or therapists. A lot of therapists have anxiety, a lot of healers have
Mhm.
anxiety, a lot of musicians have all the emotions ever, and
Mhm.
there's just a deep plug on how it comes out,
Yeah.
you can retool it. Even being incredibly happy all the time, like, that's happiness is exhausting, dude.
Oh my god.
Like, and this is definitely a season 2 topic, but happiness is fucking exhausting.
Yeah. I would love to talk to you about that at some point because
Hell yeah.
I get me on that episode.
Yes, sir. We can definitely do the amount of shit that I randomly text you of, "Hey, Spencer, if we could do this, would that work?"
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely, because it's exhausting, but, like, the happy person also has to retool that happiness, The
Mhm.
person who's depressed on the inside, they have to learn how to retool that depression.
Yep.
Like, they might have to lay in hard to, like, some Ren Fair shit that a lot of people are like, "That's weird," and they're like, "You can go fuck yourself, I like it." Like,
Right.
yeah, they might seem abrasive, but they've retooled that depression, and maybe that helps somebody else out, who's going through some shit, and is seeing somebody they know is depressed actually utilizing the depression to be like Dark Lord of some insane Camelot thing.
Right.
I blame Merlin for this. This is all Bradley James's fault. And, Merlin. But yeah, I mean, like, all these cores need to be retooled. They all need to be dealt with, and it's
Mhm.
not. And you can also have a dark rage core. My rage core is dark as hell. Like if
Right.
this were Star Wars, I would definitely be a Sith who lives in the mountains somewhere who's also a Jedi. Like,
Mhm.
I would just be like, "Don't talk. Don't. If you're here, there's a problem."
I I think too, like, I try my best to I it's always hard to make claims about yourself because, like, it's whatever, never mind. Forget that part.
We'll get
I
back there one day.
Right. I generally try to consider I try to be an empathetic person. I try to be an empathetic person, but when you have a decent EQ and you practice empathy, the other side of that is like you are thinking it's because you're like aware of all like the dark shit. You know what I mean? It's like a weird two-sided coin. It's
Yeah.
it's it's a constant awareness of darkness just as much as it is like empathy.
Mhm.
I
And
don't
like
know.
and so like you talked about your tattoo, your message in the bottle, don't be afraid to ask for help. So my
Mhm.
most recent tattoos, it's actually a kind of hilarious thing to me is this guy. I don't know if you can even see
Mm.
this guy over there.
Yeah, you sent me a picture of that.
Yeah. So I found out later this is a binder in for courage that I
Viewers, by
have.
the way, she just pulled down her pants and flashed her butt at me.
Yeah, that's what we do here. Poop and fart jokes and butts all the time. Um
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but I found out it's a binder in for courage now in Nordic traditions, and it's
Mm,
typically used for that, and I attached it to a laughing face because I've been through so much shit now, I just laugh at everything.
mm,
It's all one hell of a joke, but for me, I was putting together 3 different runes for myself, and they were Tewas, Othala, and Algiz, and I put them together kind of as an accountability, but, as much as there's accountability for being a leader, for working, for being the abrasive rage core person that I am, that it's going to create a space for other people to be able to do what they need to do, and
mm,
by no means do I think I am a leader, but people like to put that on my hat, and it
mm.
makes me really uncomfortable. At having this part of the conversations making me uncomfortable. But since it's been put there, I guess, that's it reminds me every time I look at it, like, 1, it's not to take things too seriously, but to
Mm,
remember you can always laugh about it because one way or another, it was bound to happen, and 2, you have not only a responsibility, but the ability to control the way your dark core is used. Like, this
mm,
dark rage core that I have, it's my job to control the way that it's used. It's my
mm,
job to master my rage core. It is my job to understand my darkness
mm,
for many reasons. So every time I look at that now, it's like, hey, you can either let anger take the keys again, knowing full and well that it is still in its toddler state, or you can be a fucking adult about it and you can control where this goes because it's going to happen. So deal with it. Be a leader, create something that other people will be able to step up to and utilize even when you're gone
mm.
and do what you know you're supposed to be doing. Like, that's where your responsibility comes in. So
Yeah,
yours is ask for help, and mine is be the help that's being asked for.
I like it. I love that.
It's my job. I'm an angry fuck.
The best to ever do it, though.
Hey, man. That's the thing is, like, when you need me, I'm there.
It's
When I
true.
need my buddies, you guys are all there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's kind of the give and take. And by no means do all of us have rage cores. We're like the Justice League, and somehow Frank Castle got put in the middle of it.
Which one am I?
Barry Allen.
Barry Allen? I'm
You're the
so
Flash.
fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I need to up I'm so uncultured on superhero stuff.
Don't worry, we'll get you all cultured up. We'll go to what's the arcade? Help me out, Worcester person.
What the fuck? Why am I forgetting 2? Wait a minute.
Well, he remembers the name. There's this bomb ass place where you can go. It's like a bar and an arcade, and you pay like a $12 cover or something like
Free
that.
play.
There we go. You go in, you play all your games. That's what we'll do. We'll head on down to free play, and then we'll just geek it up for the night.
That was my flash speed brain.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. And I think maybe I talk a little too much for Batman, unless a real like Bruce Wayne moment, then I guess like I'll take that one.
I can see the Batman. I can totally see that. I think that's
Like,
pretty accurate.
you know my brooding psycho side.
Also, if I was the Flash, like I said earlier, there'd be a perpetual snail trail behind me. So, like, it'd just be
It's
this quick line of sweat just flicking
it
everywhere.
maybe. You think it would be a quick line of sweat, or do you think he moves fast enough that the sweat evaporates?
Snap, that's a thought. Either that or if it doesn't do that, then it just sprinklers in all directions.
He's moisturizing everyone else's.
Everyone else is just grossed out when he's running around, so they just get covered in a wall of sweat.
And they also get a little shock because he tends to have, like, the lightning trail, so just sweating electricity. This is the bad side of too much brightness.
No, now we're getting into silly, goofy whimsy, and
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
it really is, and that is the other side of understanding all the different parts. Now I wanna go see who everybody is, though. Like, we need to have everybody mapped out who they are in the just. Who are you in the Justice League? Let's find out.
Right. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, no, guys, don't be afraid of darkness. Ask for
Mhm.
help when you need it.
Yes.
And for those of us who have weathered the darkness, be the help that everybody's asking for, please. We can do this. We got this. We don't have to fail this group project.
Yeah! Jumps in the air and freeze frames.
And then moons everybody in the next trees.
Love
Go
it.
do things, guys. But great. I'm trying.
Funny on the mic, gonna shout it when I'm